When it comes to dating with an ostomy, things might be a little bit different and your mindset might be a little bit different as well. You're not just dealing with a scar that might be on your stomach, you're not just dealing with a flare-up that might make you go to the bathroom. You actually have a physical appliance hanging from your stomach, which might change your mindset towards certain things and your confidence as well. So before my surgery, there were a couple of different things that went through my head. I was a single guy, so a lot of things that were on my mind would be, is somebody ever going to be attracted to me again? Am I going to be able to find someone who's okay with my ostomy and my Crohn's? Are they going to be okay with the bag hanging down during relationships and things like that? And I can tell you that these things might not have gone through my head if I was actually in a committed relationship or married at the time, but certain aspects of your life are going to change certain things with your Crohn's disease and with your ostomy. So you might battle certain mental mindsets that go on, but I can tell you that in the end, people who are really strong and good enough who you want to be with in a relationship aren't going to care about your ostomy. I talked to all my friends about things. I asked for their opinion. Would you be okay with an ostomy? Would you want to be with somebody who had severe Crohn's disease and had an ileostomy or colostomy, things like that? And they all told me that they would have no problem being with somebody with an ostomy. And for the longest time, I didn't believe them. I went through a period about 3 years before I actually made the commitment to getting my ostomy, of battling my Crohn's disease and having surgery after surgery after surgery. And then I finally realized that my quality of life was just too low and I didn't want to live like this anymore. I researched everything, I went through all the steps, I knew that I was ready for this step in my life that would give me my health back and allow me to live again. But how would it affect my relationships? And like I said, I talked to my friends about it, I talked to the loved ones in my life and got their opinion. But how could I really know that they're telling me the truth? They're my friends. They're supposed to tell me that everything's going to be okay and that it's not going to affect my life. I can tell you from 2 days before my surgery, I actually found out that the ostomy wasn't going to control my relationships and that it wasn't going to ruin my love life. And I knew from that point on that things were going to be okay. So take the necessary steps, try to clear your mind as much as possible, but know from someone who's gone through it and who is someone who's dealt with the mental battles for 3 years trying to make the decision on whether or not to get an ostomy, that it won't control your relationships and that you will be able to find somebody who will love you with your ostomy and with your Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis. Now for me, like I mentioned before, it was a 3-year process in the decision making to actually get the ostomy. So I wanted to talk about it, I wanted to see how it was going to affect my life. It was a really big step for me to actually talk about it with somebody for the first time. Now I actually went out with a girl who I was very interested in 2 days before my surgery and we had a great time. She actually knew I was going into surgery and she knew that I had Crohn's disease, but we didn't really talk about it during the day because she just figured I didn't want to talk about it. I wanted to enjoy as much time as possible. And I brought it up to her at the end of the night because I really wanted to keep seeing her. I wanted to talk to her again. I wanted to get to know her. And I mentioned to her, listen, I'm having surgery in a couple of days and I'd really like to still get to know you though, but it is going to affect my life. And she casually and nicely said, listen, I know, I just figured you didn't want to talk about it, but I want to get to know you also. At this point, I responded with the very obvious answer of, well, we should really talk about it because this isn't a very simple surgery and it's something that's a little bit different. It's, I'm not getting my knee scoped or a cardiogram or something like that. It's a little bit of a more complicated surgery that's going to affect my life. And she asked me what it was, and I told her that I was getting an ostomy. And it was a big step for me because I didn't expect to be able to talk about it so soon, even prior to my surgery, but I really wanted to. Her response to the fact that I was getting an ostomy was very surprising because she told me, okay, which I was extremely surprised about. It almost caught me off guard and I lost my breath for a second. And I asked her very simply, well, do you know what an ostomy is? I mean, do you understand what I'm saying? And her response once again was, yeah, who cares? I know what you're thinking. You might be thinking I'm making this up, and I'm not. This is 100% the truth. And from that moment on, I really knew that the ostomy wasn't going to affect my relationships and wasn't going to keep me from meeting people. So right there, I actually made a lot of big steps. Not only did I talk about my Crohn's disease and talk about my ostomy before I even had it with someone who I knew I was interested in, who knew I had the ability to care about, but I also found out that it wasn't going to affect my life the way it was, and people weren't going to care as much. When she told me that she knew what an ostomy was and that she didn't care in any way and that she still wanted to get to know me, I basically walked into my house with a smile from ear to ear, saying to myself, wow, 3 years of anxiety, 3 years of thinking, how am I going to do this? Do I really want to make this step? And all of a sudden I realized that my love life wasn't going to be over. I was going to have healthy relationships. I was going to be able to talk about it, and I knew that everything would be okay. Now, your situation might be a little bit different. You might already have an ostomy. You might not. You might be trying to make the decision of surgery, or you might already be dealing with and making the adjustments of having an ostomy. But I can promise you, if you're worried about it affecting your love life, affecting your relationship, affecting your dating, don't. Make the step when you know somebody that you want to talk to, when you're confident about it. Talk to them, tell them what's going on, and I can almost guarantee you that they're not going to have a problem with it, and they're going to continue wanting to be a relationship because it doesn't define you. That person is obviously still around, they're talking to you, but they have questions. It's going to be a learning experience for both of you entering into a relationship with your ostomy and learning all about this, especially for the person that's dating you. So take things step by step. Educate yourself as well as try to educate them as much as possible. Now with the internet these days, you know that once you told them, if they knew about what an ostomy was or if they didn't, they probably went home, did a Google search, and tried to start finding out exactly what this is. What I recommend at this point is suggesting some sites for them to go to. You don't want them to go home and do their Google search and all of a sudden find all these horror stories that they read about having an ostomy and all the ugly things that could possibly happen. And trust me, chances are they won't, but they are out there. Make sure that they go to credible sources that you know of that will inspire them to know that things will be okay and that the next steps won't scare them away. You want to suggest these sites and make sure that you know what's on them as well. So then when they come and start asking questions about your ostomy and about what's going on in the future, that you can answer them too. Obviously the internet and doctors and people that they're going to talk to are a great resource, but you're the one that's going through it. You're the one that's making these adjustments. You're learning your appliances. You're learning about the ostomy, about the stoma, things like that. So your experience is going to still be different from everybody else's. So make sure that you are open with them, and like I mentioned earlier, talk about it with confidence. Make sure that they know that everything's okay, that yes, you're going through these mental battles, you might be going through physical battles, but let them know that it's going to be okay. When I first started dating, when I first had my first leaks or problems, I talked about it, and yeah, I was emotional, at times I was upset, but I also conveyed to them that I knew that this was going to happen, that it wasn't the end of the world, and that it was going to be a bump in the road that I was going to get through. So make sure that they know about it, make sure that you talk about it openly, that they go to credible sources, and that they know what's going on, but don't necessarily scare them away with all the real details right away. Go at your own pace and make sure that they're okay with that as well. Okay, so you're in a stable relationship right now. You're okay with your ostomy, you're becoming better with it, the person that you're with is becoming better with it, you're educating them, they're educating you, everything's going well. There's going to be a question that's going to come up in your relationship that is pretty much unavoidable, and it's actually something that's on the other person's mind. Eventually they're going to ask you the question, are you with me because I'm good with your ostomy and I'm okay with it? And it's going to be a question that you have to be ready to answer openly and honestly. And if you're really thinking that I'm with this person only because they're good with your ostomy and good with and okay with it, then chances are they're not the right person for you. Make sure you're dating somebody for the right reasons, because you love them, because you care about them, because you have similar interests or activities that you like together, because you have a good time no matter what you're doing and you're constantly laughing. Your ostomy shouldn't keep you from having a normal and healthy relationship. So once you're asked this question, not only think about it from their point of view, but think about it from your point of view too. They have a right to ask you this. An ostomy brings a very unique situation to a relationship. So know the answer and try to be open and honest with that person. And if that answer is, yes, I'm only staying with you because you're okay with my ostomy, then it's probably not the right relationship with you and it's for you, and it's probably time to walk away. Now, if you realize that this person is the right one for you and you do have a great time and you love them in every way and you have so many laughs and fun times and everything, then you have to tell them, no, it's not the reason why I'm with you, and make sure that they know that, because it's always going to be a question in the back of their heads and it's something hard for them to deal with. They're going through a lot as well, and they're supporting you with the disease like Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis that you've battled and that has led to this ostomy. And they have the right to know that you're with them for the right reasons. And go out of your way a little bit to show them that you care about them and that you love them in the correct ways, because that will ease their mind a little bit, hopefully, and allow them to realize that you're in this relationship for the right reasons. Okay, so we've gone over a lot of topics in this video, and I'd like to wrap it up now. And in the end, you have to know that your Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis or ostomy isn't going to keep you from having a fulfilling love life and finding a really good, happy relationship in this life. Now, I actually had a conversation with an ex-girlfriend shortly after my ostomy surgery that I want to share with you because it's something very powerful, and she said something to me that I'm never going to forget. And she actually didn't know what an ostomy was. I actually had to tell her exactly what I was going through, what the surgery entailed, and how it affected my life now. And I was telling her that I was really scared, that I was nervous, that it was going to keep me from meeting the right person, that I was going to find this love of my life and I was going to tell her that I had an ostomy and she was going to run away from me and not want to be with me ever again. And my ex-girlfriend looked at me and said, Brian, it's not going to keep you from meeting the right person, it's going to keep you from meeting the wrong person. And I was floored. She was completely correct, and they're words that I'm never going to forget, and they're extremely powerful, so I'll say them once again. Your Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, or ostomy will not keep you from meeting the right person. They're just going to keep you from meeting the wrong person. You want to be with somebody who is completely okay with your situation, completely supportive, completely loving, completely caring about not only you as a healthy person, but what you're going to be going through on your battles with Crohn's disease, with ulcerative colitis, or with an ostomy. So it's not going to keep you from meeting the right person. Know that you're going to find happy relationships. Know that you're going to date the right person. And know that you're going to have a fulfilling and happy love life. I can guarantee you that in time you'll find it. I hope that the tips that I've given you in this video and the information that I've gone through in my life will help you. And just know that Valentine's Day is a time for love. It's a time for being with the person you truly care about. And your Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis or ostomy shouldn't keep you from celebrating this day and also being with somebody you truly care about and love every other day of the year during your life. So go out there, date, find a relationship, or use this information in the current relationship that you're in, and I hope that you all have an incredible Valentine's Day, and I will talk to you soon.